Hi, this is Kevin Deal from Upscale Audio, and today we're going to talk about the Spendor D7.2. Oh my God. Okay, so this is what went down, all right? I was over in the sound room, and somebody had these set up for a demo and for a customer, and I rolled on in there, and I go, oh man. I mean, now I know why my employees really dig Spendor, and they really dig this model, you know, because it's a very compact package, and I mean, it sounds so amazing. And so I stole into the sound room, and they call this the definition series because it's got a little more pop than some of the other Spendor models, you know. And I go, well, God, it does. I mean, but how would it? I decided to give it the test, you know. And I think about one of the tests is glam rock, and then I thought about Lou Reed, Rock and Roll Animal, and some of you people know that album, right? And if I was to be honest with you, it is one of the albums that when I play it, I imagine that I am up on the stage playing guitar because there's two guitar players in it, Steve Hunter and another guy, I forget the other guy's name. And I'm up there performing, and girls are just going crazy and da-da-da-da, and I'm doing intro, and then there's a song called Sweet Jane. And that guitar performance is one of the top 100, according to, I think, Rolling Stone, one of the top 100 guitar riffs ever, right? Dueling guitar riffs ever in history. And I'm playing that, and man. And then they go into this song called Heroin, which is so dramatic, you know, when all the Jims in this town and everybody putting everybody else down and all the politicians making crazy sounds. And I'm like, oh, I'm right there. And I'm playing it on this speaker. And even though it has all this pop and all of this definition, right? I mean, it wasn't bugging me, and that's the true test. If I can play some old Bowie or that album, this Rock and Roll Animal, and it doesn't drive me out of the room, I mean, I know I've got myself a winner. And I'm like, oh man, and I was right there just digging it, and then suddenly somebody comes in, the customer, and there's some guy in the sound room, you know, and the guy happens to be me, the owner of the company. I had to get out, but I hope he has a good time. So what is this company about? You know, they've been around since the 1960s, named after a guy named Spencer Hughes and his wife Dorothy. That's where you get Spendor, and he was a BBC engineer, and a lot of the Spendor speakers, they have kind of that BBC sound, which is, you know, the mid-range is a little bit more fluid and up front, and, you know, it's a little bit different kind of sound, but they wanted to make something for another audience. And they've absolutely succeeded. They make their drivers in-house. They're one of the largest cabinet manufacturers in the UK, in England, and they make cabinets for other manufacturers, and they make some of the finest cabinets ever. And let's talk about that. It's available, I think it's in 5 finishes, right? I love the walnut, love it. This is natural cherry. They've got an oak finish, or a black oak, and then satin white. Anyway, it's all up on the website. And as I recall, I think we try to stock every finish because I don't want you to have to wait for it, right? But this cabinet is amazing. Like, first off, it's got supports behind the bass drivers. This is a 2.5-way speaker, by the way. And there are supports that butt right up against the back of the drivers to help keep them from making their own noise and to just support them within the cabinet, right? They don't stuff them with a whole bunch of regular filling because they don't buy into that. They think that it can make the bass kind of I don't know, how to sound kind of loose and out of tune. So the bass from this speaker, I mean, true to that, is very, very tight. And in fact, it's got a really, really cool, what they call a dual Venturi bass port on the back. And maybe I'm gonna spin that around if I can do it without screwing something up. All right, here it is on the back. And it almost looks like a transmission line. And some people kind of liken it to that. I'm not gonna say one way or the other. I am gonna say it's badass. Because of this bass port, it's easy to place this speaker in a lot of rooms. You can place it up a little closer to the wall or a little bit away from the wall, and it is less sensitive to that. I have heard from a buddy of mine who has Spendors. He says, and I'm not going to confirm or deny this, all right? He said that you can also kind of fine tune because the bass port is so low to the ground. He said that you can kind of fine tune the bass by bringing the spikes up or down just a little bit off the floor. And you know, I could kind of see how that might make sense. But man, look at that woodwork. Look at that woodwork. Now let's talk about the tweeter. It is a dome tweeter. It's got a little screen attached to the front and on the back, and that keeps an equal amount of pressure on the front and the rear of the dome. Bass driver is a Kevlar composite. Both of these, this one has a phase correction plug. But what I want to say to you is that this is not a big speaker, right? It is not. But man, it plays like one. I mean, it's got great bass. I mean, bass to beat the bands, and it's that nice round bass that I kind of, sometimes I think some speakers are missing. And then the mid-range, and you guys know if you've listened to me, I'm really sensitive to that because I dig vocals. It has none of that, you know, elevated, you know, where like Lyle Lovett sounds like, I don't know. I mean, you know, or where Lyle Lovett sounds like Pee Wee Herman or something. I mean, it doesn't have that, right? It's got that nice body that I kind of dig. Now, they say it's an 8-ohm speaker, and I guess I have to believe that. In fact, I think I saw some measurements somewhere that says that it is fairly true to that. But does that mean that I use it on an 8-ohm tap of my tube amplifier? Hell no. No, it's important to you. And I don't care what speaker you buy. It's important that you try your 8-ohm tap and your 4-ohm tap, because I noticed I was playing this. It's a 90 dB efficient speaker, and a 36 watt Prima Luna Evo 300 was just rocking it, right? But I think I kind of preferred the sound on the 4-ohm tap. The bass was a little more generous, and the top end was, you know, had a little bit more sparkle to it, and that was to my liking. When I put it on the 8-ohm tap, it did warm up a little bit, but that's the beauty of having a tube amp, right? That's how you get the best handshake. So always, when you have a tube amplifier, you need to make that decision and use your own good judgment. You know, they're relatively easy to place, you know, but when you buy speakers from us, we're going to help you when you get them home if you have questions. But most important is that you check the box, so we send you our speaker setup disc or thumb drive. That's going to help you. There's 2 versions to it, one for newer people and the other one for OCD crazy, knuckle dragging Neanderthals. So look, come to our beautiful store, come and demo these here, or buy them from one of my salespeople. I mean, if you don't love them, you know, we can send them back. But, you know, we don't like to just send things out because that gets really expensive. We want to make sure you do the right thing for yourself. And that's why my employees don't work on commission. So whether you buy this or another speaker, it ain't going to change their day one way or the other. And that's the way I want it, because I want to make sure that we always do this. We're going to treat your system like it's ours. Thank you.